probably need to go
You
upstairs.
do not have to hide the ashy shadows of loneliness behind swirls of bright colors, Ulfa.
I respect your gift, Guide to the Soul Sea. But you should save your sorcery for someone else.
I don't think she's actively using a sorcery. I think she just sees things different. The man swaying slightly is mumbling a prayer to the Emperor. Okay.
Victory awaits!
I guess let's just go upstairs. Let me through. I have an appointment with Chancellor Clementia Werserian. My apologies, my lord, but you cannot go any further. Governor Drivestom's orders. This is ridiculous. I shall complain. Hopefully he doesn't try and stop me. Move over. Let his lordship the rogue trader through. I humbly beg your pardon, your lordship. Your lordship, please, this way. I was wanting to check out my room first, but I guess not. Your lordship, 'tis an honor. Governor Urban Drivestom seems to materialize out of thin air. So suddenly does he emerge from the crowd. I regret that such unfortunate circumstances have occasioned the rogue trader's visit to the capital. I mean, it's my capital. If I want to come here, I can come here. Clementia tries to take a step towards you, but the warden nearby stops her. Her face is veiled with fear and weariness. Your lordship, you're here. Please, you must hear us out. The rogue trader is undoubtedly here to listen to the testimony of each and every one of us, and to punish the traitors. The governor's words directed at Clementia are harsh. They are echoed by the scornful sneers and whispers of the assembled nobles. We have known each other for many decades now, and we have had our fair share of disagreements, but do you really think my flesh and blood would trample upon the very definition of honor and loyalty? Abelard's voice is quivering with rage. The governor sweeps his gaze over Abelard, then replies, a faint shadow of doubt in his voice. We have evidence implicating them, Abelard. I'm sure that his lordship will arrive at a fair ruling. What are the charges against House Werserian? Disruption of logistical lines, bribery of Adeptus Administratum officials, document forgery, and organization of heretical insurrections. On top of the evidently devastating economic impact this has had on your protectorate, these criminal acts have impeded the delivery of the imperial tithe, which in turn has drawn the Administratum's attention. Needless to say, the esteemed Adeptus Arbites cannot ignore this situation either, and before their representatives arrive at the palace, we are obligated to identify and punish those responsible. Clementia, I wish to hear your account. Your lordship, House Werserian denies all charges laid against it. Clementia glances at the governor with defiance. These last few months have indeed been trying for Dargonus, but we have done our best to remedy the situation. My family's every effort was focused on stabilizing the capital's logistics and economy, so much so that we failed to notice the web of intrigue unfolding behind our backs. What happened on Dargonus in my absence? When we caught wind of the rumors of your disappearance, we patiently awaited news of your return, but then Dargonus was struck by a series of terrible events. The first was the sabotage of logistics that hampered shipments, then mass unrest spread across the entire planet, and the minor noble houses began squabbling amongst themselves, trying to pin the blame on their rivals. We took great pains to calm them down, and managed to quash the revolt, though not without some outside help, unfortunately. These events have also been overshadowed by the, I'm ashamed to say it out aloud in front of you, your lordship, the rumors circulating among the higher houses. The governor stammers, then takes a deep breath. Some of them are calling for Theodore's true heir to be installed as head of your house, Kunrad Votvir. Not all of your subjects have forgotten his past efforts for the benefit of the trade protectorate. Drivestrom stops talking, watching you with a tense expression. When the investigation was launched, the evidence led us to the Werserians. Why are there dead bodies at the entrance to my palace? Your lordship, I humbly beg your pardon. Drivestom bows once again, trying to placate you. You see, right before your arrival, the palace guard discovered a plot to assassinate you. Fortunately, the malefactors were disposed of before they could cause you any harm. Drivestom, you aren't accusing one of Dargonus' leading noble houses of treason without airtight evidence, are you? Of course I have evidence, your lordship. The investigation has established that members of the Werserian family, which is responsible for both Dargona's fleet and its logistics, use their contacts and influence to forge a host of documents in order to undermine the planet's supply routes and economy, thus fomenting the unrest among the inhabitants. Allow me to introduce my son, Cornelius. The governor... That seems kind of just directly out of place. Directly introducing your son right now. The governor points to the lanky young man standing beside him. He bows curtly before but avoids meeting your eye. Cornelius holds the prestigious position at the Administratum Palace, and it is thanks to him that we managed to identify and trace the entire chain of forged documents. The investigation led us to the perpetrators, who admitted to acting on the orders of members of House Werserian. It was they who were intent on spreading the idea of restoring the title of Rogue Trader to the true heir. This young man is shrouded in a mist of gray and blue. Sickly shadows of fear are fluttering around him. Cassia speaks so quietly that only you can hear her. Sickly shadows of fear. Is he just afraid because he's standing in front of the Rogue Trader? Or is he afraid because he's guilty? Because if Cornelius the son was forging the documents himself and then pinned it, but he says the claim is that he found irregularities which led to investigations, and the various people they met all pointed to the Werserians. So it's not just that he found things that claim it's the Werserians. Speak to the heads of houses present. Do you support the governor's accusations? Your words alone are not enough to make me doubt the loyalty of House Werserian. As Rogue Trader, I ordered you to release them from custody at once. Sabotaging logistics, riots, conspiracy. The case appears to be flimsy. I wish to learn more before I make a final decision. Definitely need to learn more. I don't have time to deal with the drive stem. I accept the findings of your investigation and find the Werserians guilty. Rough. Speaking to the heads of houses present, do you support the governor's accusations? The aristocrats in attendance exchange glances, the noble lords averting their gazes, and the noble ladies hiding behind the fans. No one is willing to be the first to answer. Macarius Sauerback. Over his many years of service, Governor Drivestem earned Theodore's trust, and he holds his high office for a reason. Sauerback's tone is stern and imperious. On behalf of House Sauerback, I support his accusations. Gaprak. Your lordship, Governor Drivestem has always faithfully served the rogue traders of House von Valentius and concerned himself with the future of your trade dynasty, and so House Gaprak thinks his charge against House Werserian to be sound. The augmetics hide Toriana's emotion, but her voice sounds slightly timorous. Clementia Werserian, I humbly ask you to allow me to speak in defense of my family's honor. The evidence provided by the governor is utterly false. I cannot refute it, but I can say with confidence that no one from my family has ever tried to forge documents in the Adeptus Administratum, let alone undermine the economy of your capital. Sabotaging logistics, riots, conspiracy. The case appears to be flimsy. I wish to learn more before I make a final decision. Yeah, I'm not yet ready to accuse them or call them guaranteed not guilty. Let's learn more. As you wish, your lordship. The governor inclines his head in a stiff bow. Speak to me when you are ready to announce your verdict. Thank you for your willingness to help, Lord Captain. I'm certain that all the charges are false and would be grateful for your help in exposing them as such. I think you should speak to everyone present, the noble lords and ladies. Okay. So who do we have around? Let's talk to Drivestem. Governor Drivestem is surrounded by his retinue, who are all dressed in expensive gowns and finery. The matching color scheme of their outfits and the striking physical resemblance among them suggest they all come from one family. Your lordship, thank you for giving this case your undivided attention. The governor bows and the rest hasten to follow suit. I wish to hear your reasoning again. What makes you think the Werserians are behind the plot against me? As soon as the logistics and economical problems gave rise to the initial rumors, we tried to find the person responsible for spreading the calls for Voltvia's return. The investigation showed that some of the documents inside the Adeptus Administratum were forgeries. We can thank my son Cornelius for such astute Observations. Your lordship, a slender young man bows to you awkwardly and nervously licks his dry lips. I assure you that my humble person is undeserving of your attention. Cornelius holds a prestigious position at the Administratum Palace, and it was he who discovered the errors leading to the disrupted logistics. It is also thanks to him that we found the perpetrators of the forgeries, who admitted to acting on the orders of House Werserian. What do you make of this letter I found on one of the assailants? Governor Drivestem peers closely at the blood-stained paper. It looks like another piece of evidence incriminating House Werserian. Perhaps they truly did intend to kill you, or at least cause a stir to help them escape custody during the confusion that followed. All the assailants were high-functioning servitors. Such servitors are only employed by families close to the Adeptus Mechanicus. High-functioning servitors? Drivestem ponders this, rubbing his chin with his thumb. Such servitors are indeed rare, and the Gapraks do have them in their service, but this could have been done intentionally with the eye to confuse you. Anyone with the desire and sufficient funds can hire them. Tell me more of your son, Drivestem. Thank you for your interest, your lordship, but I am not worthy of it. Oh, that's Cornelius. Thank you for your interest, your lordship, but I am not worthy of it. The governor's son bows and stands still as he nervously stares down at the floor. Son, show due respect. Forgive him, your lordship. This is the first time he had the honor of attracting the attention of the rogue trader. Tell me more about your job, Cornelius. What do you do? I manage the documents and records related to the economy of Dargonus. You probably know how scrupulous the workers of the Adeptus Administratum are. I'm afraid that a more detailed explanation of my duties would mirror the administrative processes of the Administratum. Too long and overly detailed. Cornelius tries to look you in the eye, but it is clearly hard for him to do so. How did you manage to find the forged documents in the bureaucratic hell that is the Administratum? When compiling reports on the last cycle's supply chain, I noticed inaccuracies and discrepancies in the figures. With the help of the other clerks, I managed to find several other documents. Cornelius stammers and swallows noisily. Comprehensive data analysis has shown that the discrepancies were caused by intentional tampering with the data, thus leading to some logistical problems that were practically unsolvable. Father and I have managed to single out the Administratum clerks responsible for tampering with the data. Following a heated interrogation, they confessed they were following the orders of someone from House Werserian. Everything was supposed to look as though they were the ones suffering losses from the logistical and economic problems. But does House Werserian have access to the Adeptus Administratum? There's no conceivable way they could do all of this in a place where they do not hold any power. Before replying, the governor's son nervously adjusts his expensive frock coat. I think the right amount of money can open any door. Cornelius, what is the true reason for your nervousness? The young man's pupils suddenly dilate. He stands at attention and replies to you in one breath. This is the first time I've spoken face to face with the rogue trader. I'm afraid of saying something wrong or forgetting something important. The governor closely watches his son. His tone changes, now sounding strict and curt. Do you wish to tell the Lord Captain anything else? Coercion, which is guaranteed success. Place your hand on your weapon. You are speaking to a rogue trader, and my patience is running out. Or I see you cannot contain your awe in the face of the grand persona of your lord. I will not trouble you with any more questions. I feel like there is more that Cornelius should be telling us or wants to tell us. There's something more going on with his nervousness. But threatening him feels like I'm stepping over a line I shouldn't, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because if there is some other detail that he's too afraid to tell us, I want him to tell me. You are speaking to a rogue trader. My patience is running out. You see the flash of terror in Cornelius' eyes as he stares at your hand on your weapon. He speaks quietly and confusedly, without raising his head. Forgive me, your lordship. I can't do it anymore. This lie has gone too far, and I can no longer control it. The truth is that all the logistical problems were caused by a single error in the numbers. My mistake. Seriously? Governor Irvin Drivestem. What? Irvin looks genuinely shocked and enraged. When I discovered my mistake, it was almost impossible to restore the supply lines. Then I was approached by someone who said they were a friend. They did not give me their name, and I never saw their face. They promised to fix the problems. All I had to do was pretend that the Werserians were responsible for the mistake. And as for the rest of the evidence, they promised to arrange it all. And then Cornelius is suffocating with fear, unable to speak. Wow. Did we just solve this entire case by talking to one person? Because it seems like it. Urban curls his hands into fists, the knuckles turning white. What have you done? How could you? Your lordship. He suddenly turns to you as if trying to shield his son. This is my fault. I trusted my son and have failed at you in doing so. I beg you, have mercy. Abelard, he's way over here, but apparently listening in. Abelard shakes his head. And you called my family's honor into question, Urban. Nevertheless, I harbor no desire to kick a man when he is down. Lord Captain, the confession you have obtained means that House Werserian can now be cleared of all charges. But we still do not know who was behind the forgeries, the riots, the plot, the assassination attempts. Someone is committing their foul deeds and sowing chaos right under your subjects' noses. To leave that stone unturned would be dangerous. What is this friend that approached you, Cornelius? How did the two of you communicate? Urban, your son has found the courage to admit his mistake. I'll try and find some compassion for him in my heart. Cornelius, I hereby sentence you to death immediately. Rough. What was this friend that approached you, Cornelius? How did the two of you communicate? By letter. I received a letter out of the blue one day. It was unsigned, but the person writing already knew about my erroneous calculations. They offered to help me cover up my misdeed, and in return, I would name the Werserians as the ones who had sabotaged the supply lines. All I had to do was gather together some documents and reports that were listed in one of the letters. That, and keep my mouth shut. Your son has found the courage to admit his mistakes. I will try to find some compassion for him in my heart. Thank you, your lordship. The governor bows low, then gives his son a look full of bitterness and frustration. And as for your position, I think you will be reassigned to a role requiring less responsibility. I shall return to you later. I do still want to talk to everyone else and find out any more details before we just end this, because apparently there's a lot more going on.
I won't tolerate weakness.
As you draw closer, the wardens step aside, bowing respectfully, allowing you to approach the Werserian family. Clementia, tired and slightly disheveled, is the first to bow her head in your deference. Several men and women behind her follow suit. Your lordship, the woman stammers as if lost for words, accept my most humble apologies for failing to greet you properly, and my thanks for agreeing to speak to me before making your final decision. The charges brought by the governor are severe, but I can only assure you that this and swear on my own honor, we are not guilty of the crimes that House Werserian is being accused of. Clementia, you hear sorrow creep into Abelard's voice, belying his stern facade. You were acting head of this family. You were supposed to take care of each and every family member, and now you are being accused of treason and collusion against the rogue traitor, and the entire family is facing death. How could you let this happen? Abelard, you already know that she's innocent. The fact that we can continue on after we know that they're not guilty. Are you truly guilty? Be honest. I will not tolerate lies. Clementia, if you know that a member of your family is guilty of the crimes you are being accused of. Abelard, it is your family too, you know. The woman's voice burns with defiance. My apologies, I should not lose my composure. No member of House Werserian is involved in a conspiracy against his lordship. Honor and loyalty are not something we take lightly, and we know whom we serve. The governor claims you forged documents in the administratum. The fleet is the primary remit of House Werserian. It is our responsibility. Logistics and supply routes are another area of our responsibility. We have no direct influence on the inner workings of the Adeptus Administratum. The first large-scale deliveries were cancelled after quantities of food were miscalculated by clerks in the Administratum. Then we were faced with incorrect weather data and a meager fuel budget. It was clear that the cause of all these problems was the calculation performed in the Administratum, in one way or another. But no matter how many times we asked, we could not obtain any clarification on the matter. I found this letter on the bodies of the heretics who planned the attack. What can you tell me about it? While Clementia reads the letter, the Werserians behind her read over his shoulder. Your lordship, let us be frank. It would be foolish of me to try and orchestrate something like this, knowing how many wardens are patrolling your palace. I would not have let myself or anyone in my family get involved in such a scheme. The attackers were high-functioning servitors, ones that looked closer to ordinary humans. Do you know anything about them? Servitors, is that so? Clementia crosses her arms and furrows her brow, deep in thought. I've encountered servitors that were indistinguishable from normal, augmented humans, but only once. They were accompanying several members of House Gaprak. Yeah, everyone's pointing finger at House Gaprak about the servitors. If you're not guilty, who is? Who stands to gain from framing you? Anyone, really. Clementia replies with a bitter laugh. The other houses consider us unworthy of our position, and many would jump at the chance to get rid of us and gain control over what once was our domain. The planet's fleets and logistics, at the very least. Lady Theodora chose to grant noble status to House Werserian, but the other houses, which have served in the Expanse for millennia, did not welcome the decision. It has led to some difficulties. I want to find out what is going on here and who the real mastermind behind all this. Where should I start? I'm afraid I cannot be of much help. Talk to the representatives of the other houses, eavesdrop on their retinue, and perhaps you will hear something unusual. I must take my leave. Eavesdrop on their retinue, that's an interesting idea. All these charges, there cannot possibly be any evidence to corroborate them. We are not involved in any plot. What about you guys yelling at each other? Trumped up charges are the only reason we are standing here today. Nothing more.
Follow my lead.
Alright, so we definitely want to talk to Gaprak. You guys are just nameless aristocrats. Fine. Who do we have over here? Sourback. Associates. As long as Macarius is the head of our house, we have nothing to worry about. Werserians thought too highly of themselves. Luckily, their brush with power has been brief. So we've got Sourbacks here. Before bowing, Sourback scrutinizes you with a bitter, judgmental look. Really? Your lordship? Hector Sourback, looking like a younger copy of his father, stands at a slight distance, close to his mother. An expensive yet understated dress serves to highlight the dazzling beauty of Macarius' wife, Regina Sourback. Sourback stares at Irliet, and revulsion flickers across his face. That's fair. I did bring a Xenos here. Lord Imperium, look closely at Macarius. Despite Sourback's attempts to suppress his revulsion, the presence of inhumans in your retinue undoubtedly reflects his fervent desire to eliminate the enemies of humanity. I mean, being upset about Xenos being here is not necessarily a bad thing. Do my companions distress you, Sourback? Sourback's face turns red, his furious gaze trained upon you. Free-flowing rage boils in every word he says. The rogue trader is the chosen servant of the Emperor and one of humanity's best. By surrounding yourself with depraved Xenos, who scorn the very exceptionalism of humankind, you teeter on the brink of heresy, and no privilege granted by the Emperor can blind others to that fact. The thought of existing in the same sector as Xenos is revolting, but their presence in your retinue here in the capital city of the Von Valencia's Trade dynasty enrages me. To have Xenos sullying the streets of this planet after what we endured, and under the protection of the rogue trader no less. Sourback takes a deep breath and exhales noisily. His rage subsides, but his burning gaze remains fixed on you. With a pained and distressed expression, Regina glances at her husband, her hands whirring the ruffles of her dress. Alright. That's all fair. It's a bit bold to state to the rogue trader's face, but I can't really fault you. Do you really believe the Werserians are guilty? Certainly, Sourback replies without hesitation. Governor Drivestem possesses proof of their guilt, and they have no means by which to refute it. Even if I were to entertain the idea that the Werserians are being framed, how much longer would their house have lasted anyway? If it is so ill-prepared for treachery. He addresses Abelard with a slight mocking tone. My advice to House Werserian would be not to appeal to the rogue trader for help, but instead to simply stop, accept their fate, and not make matters worse for themselves. You guys are all hanging out way over here? I cannot remember Ignatius von Valencia seeking your advice on what House Werserian should do in this situation. Pay attention, Macarius. Focus on the rogue trader's questions. Who apart from the Werserians could have motive to conspire against me? House Drivestem, wishing to expand their clout. House Gaprak, who lost their influence after the Kiava Gamma incident. Sourback looks back at his family, then turns to you again. House Sourback, whose patriarch is too direct in his communications with the rogue trader. Anyone could have reason to conspire against you, and equally, they could have none. It is not a question of motive, but of loyalty. Each of your subjects has sworn an oath of loyalty to you, so whose sincerity do you doubt? I'm not going to charge him with heresy for being against Xenos. The assailants sent to the palace were rare high-functioning servitors. Do you think the Gaprax could be behind the attack? Sarbak looks away briefly and replies to you with a curt laugh. I've always thought Toriana was too weak to participate in such risky ventures, but it seems I was wrong about her. Like, I could make the claim about heresy, but I don't see a point. House Sarbak has faithfully served the Von Valencius dynasty of rogue traders. We have never given anyone cause to doubt our loyalty. Let's talk to Regina. I guess we can't. Some servitors and tech priests. Reporting on current actions, data extraction from the memory repository of the servitors. Will take 3 standard Terran cycles. Data decoding will take 30 standard Terran cycles. Okay, so we've got some Gaprax there. Let's listen in on some of the others around. People are saying that Theodora wanted to name someone else as her heir. Nonsense. There's only one true rogue trader. The heretics deserve to be exposed and executed, even those among us. People are saying, yeah, okay. You guys are talking a lot about the heir, but about Kunrad. But doesn't seem like you're with him. Have you seen Halen today? We came together, but I haven't seen him since. He will miss out on the fun if he doesn't hurry up. Halen? Who is Halen? Halen? Yes, I did see him briefly. He looked awfully tense, like he was fit to explode. I think he was headed towards the entrance hall, where the altars are. Do you think he knows something about the Werserian's crimes? Please, speed up. Him? As if. He never had any business with those arrogant parvenus. Okay, I guess that's that from you. But potentially someone named Halen is at least showing up in conversation. The lords and ladies, sumptuously dressed in the colors of House Gaprak, are standing in a half circle around Toriana and her son Vincent. The bodies and faces of almost every member of the dynasty are covered in large, ornate augmetics. Toriana Gaprak curtsies to you. Her mechanical voice sounds distant and indifferent. Greetings, your lordship. May the Omnissiah grant you understanding. With a click, her visor oculars swivel to the seneschal. Abelard, it must be difficult for you to be here under these circumstances, with your house standing accused of such a grave crime. My family, Lady Toriana, is yet to be found guilty of anything. That verdict is for the rogue trader to reach. Do you think the accusations against the Werserian family are true? I would not take such a responsibility upon myself to rule on their guilt, your lordship. I do think Governor Drivestem's accusations are worthy of consideration, however. In your opinion, which nobles might have reason to be party to such a conspiracy? She thinks for several moments before replying. Pardon my bluntness, your lordship, but I will answer truthfully. It can be anyone. Greed, fear, ideals can drive even the most loyal subjects to do the unthinkable. I have examined the bodies of the assailants that were killed today. All of them were high-functioning servitors. Such servitors are only employed by families close to the Adeptus Mechanicus, isn't that so? It is impossible to read Toriana's emotions in her heavily augmented face, but her sudden turn towards her family betrays her confusion and surprise. Perplexed whispers bounce from one family member to another. Impossible. We came here by ourselves without any servitors. We know nothing about it. Your lordship, thank you for informing us of this. You are absolutely right. My house has indeed been endowed with high-functioning servitors, a blessing for those who revere the Omnissiah, but today, none of our house members were accompanied by them. I found this note on the bodies of one of the attackers. What are your thoughts on it? Toriana's mechanical fingers grip the paper. Officially, high-functioning servitors are employed by my house and my house alone. If such units were to attack the rogue trader, suspicion would instantly fall upon the Gaprax. I assume that this is what the Werserians intended to happen, but they did not expect that the servitors would have this letter on them. Vincent, I wish to speak with you. Okay. Ready to serve your lordship. How may I help you? What do you make of the charges against the Werserian family? Could they truly be guilty? It's odd that we have a choice to speak to him alone, and we haven't had that choice with anyone else. I do not think I can doubt the validity of the accusations, but Vincent's voice trails off, and he seems to retreat into himself for a moment. Before continuing, he takes a deep breath. I am also not sure that House Werserian had a reason to betray you, your lordship. I do not know of any instance where their loyalty to you and the Emperor was anything less than unwavering. I know you care for Astaria Werserian. Are you prepared to watch her die? Vincent's jaw augmetic screeches slightly. The young man scrutinizes his mother and the other family members for a few moments. There is something you ought to know, your lordship. Today, I noticed one of my family members to be in an odd and characteristic mood. Halen Gaprak is my paternal second cousin once removed. May the Emperor save his soul. Usually reserved and self-possessed, today he was frantic and anxious, fidgeting with a small piece of paper and seemingly looking for someone to no avail. When I last saw him, he was headed to the entrance hall where the altars are. Perhaps you should talk to him. That will do. So that's two people pointing us to Halen. I should take my leave.
A new challenge for me.
Let's see if we can find this Halen Gaprak. You're down there. Oh, you're the one we talked to before. You were unnamed before. Now you have a name. We can head in here, see if anything new stands out, because it's been a little while. And that seems to be a no. Still can't believe we just leave the door to this place permanently open. Seems like a foolish bit of poor security.
I'll lay claim to the stars.
Camera? There we are. Alright, let's go talk to Halen. A finely dressed man of middle years is kneeling in front of the altar. His palms folded in prayer close to his face. The implant-free part of his skin are a sickly blue color. The little man does not react to your presence. He does not lift his head. He does not blink. He does not even breathe. Only when you draw closer do you realize that he is dead. Oh. Okay. Abelard looks at the man, his eyes grim. The colors of House Gaprak. I do not believe he decided to take his own life in such an extravagant way. As far as I know, there is a warden post here, but I do not see any wardens. The Seneschal looks around. There is no one to ask about what happened here, with whom the man spoke before he died. I would like to ask Urband where the palace guard suddenly disappeared to. Wow, minus 60 difficulty. It is interesting that they're giving me percentages now. That must be with the latest update. Let's awareness examine the body. Let's go Medicae first. We have a higher chance. Try to determine the cause of death. Death came for him suddenly and ravaged his body with cramping spasms that prevented him from falling to the ground. Some rare poison have such side effects. The affected victim suffocates slowly without being able to move or call for help. Let's examine the body. Also succeeded. There are no visible wounds on the body, but near the edge of the gold-trimmed collar, you notice a tiny puncture in his blue skin, likely a wound caused by a thin needle. Let's search the pockets. You discover a secret pocket in the lining of the dead man's luxurious jacket. You find a folded piece of paper inside, hiding behind a handkerchief embroidered with the initials HG, which would be him. Short note. Make sure the rogue trader is attacked by someone loyal. It should appear as if it was all staged to let the Werserian family escape. This is the last assignment. Soon your debt will be paid off in full. Let's look around. You're almost certain the wardens are usually stationed nearby, but their post is empty. Where have they gone? This would be an excellent question to put to Governor Drivestem. Alright, let's step away from the corpse. Alright, Governor.
None shall stand
Why
in my
did the
way.
wardens suddenly abandon post right as a guy got killed? Are you guilty? When you approach them, the conversations die down. The governor bows his head in deference. How may I serve you, your lordship? Are you ready to pronounce your verdict yet? I can't ask him about? Members of... Wait. Here. Usually stationed nearby. Where have they gone? This would be an excellent question to put to Governor Drivestem, but I can't. I just have to pronounce my verdict. Well, we can listen in on some of their associates. Various servants. No one I can talk to about that. Huh. Maybe we have to do the pronouncement, declare them innocent, and then we can ask about... Let's talk to the Gapraks again. Let them know that their person died. See if we can get any more information after that. The lords and ladies, sumptuously dressed in the colors of House Gaprak, are standing in a half circle around Toriana and her son Vincent. The bodies and faces of almost every member of the dynasty are covered in large ornate augmetics. Toriana Gaprak curtsies to you. Her mechanical voice sounds distant and indifferent. Greeting your lordship, may the Omnissiah grant you understanding. With a click of her visor, swivels to the essential. Abelard must be difficult. Yeah, we've already gone through all this. Okay. I discovered a dead body, a member of your house, right here in my palace. He died kneeling in prayer. Toriana covers her mouth with her hand in surprise and turning to her family, looks for someone among them. Halen, it can't be. Halen, was it? Tell me about him, Toriana. Halen is one of the lower-ranking members of House Gaprak. Despite his advanced age, he never held high office. But he was forever striving to better his position, even beyond his abilities. Many members of my house struggled to cope with the misfortune that befell Kiabagama and our family. Some members could not reconcile themselves to our new position. Halen was one of them. What could have happened to him? Toriana's visor oculars are fixed on the floor, her fingers restlessly clenching in the fabric of her dress. Toriana, the time to keep silent is long gone. The future of the Von Valencia's trade dynasty and your house are both at stake now. We lost Kabagama, a truly devastating blow to every member of House Gaprak. I lost all hope for the future, and my kin lost their sense of purpose. We needed time to recover and chart a new course for ourselves. We were, and still are, more than capable of doing that, but I will not deny it. The other houses have offered us their assistance, but for their own self-serving ends. Perhaps Halen decided to take them up on one of their offers behind my back. The Seneschal bows ever so slightly and speaks quietly so that only you can hear him. Lord Captain, the Gapraks, all or perhaps only some of them, are definitely involved, but I suspect that they were not behind the plot against you. Helen Gaprak could be nothing more than a puppet in the hands of a deaf puppet master. We must expose whoever that is, and if we are to prevent the pestilence of heresy from spreading any farther. What do you suggest we do? Interrogate the heads of the Drivestem and Sourback houses. One of them has been pulling the strings here. Once we uncover new evidence, announce the guilty party will be publicly executed. Before you pronounce the verdict, I suggest focusing on each house in your indictment speech, and I shall observe them. I have known those people far longer than you have. I know all their gestures, habits, behavioral quirks. I am sure that I will be able to determine which of them was responsible for the riots based on their behavior. I shall take my leave. Okay. We could go back to Sourback. We did skip a question about his hatred of us. Maybe we should ask it. Your unveiled hatred for me is so obvious, Sourback. It is grounds enough to charge you with heresy. I'm hearing this from you, the Emperor's servant who flouts all that is sacred, the person who seems to think the laws of the Imperium are meaningless. Macarius, now is a time when you would do well to stop and not make matters worse for yourself. I discovered a dead body in my palace. A man of House Gaprak was killed while praying to the Emperor. He had this note on him. Do you know anything about it? Macarius looks at the note without taking it from your hands and replies without hesitation. No, I know nothing about this note. Okay. We didn't ask them about the note. And it seems that I can't.
Victory awaits.
Let's talk to the Werserians, even though that's not where Abelard said to go, just in case they have anything further to say. I discovered the body of Halen Gaprak here in this palace. He had this note on him. Do you know anything about it? The younger members of the Werserian family crowd around to examine the note in Clementia's hands. All present are beset with worry and bewilderment. I am not sure if it is relevant, but perhaps you should know. Since the fall of Kabagama, House Gaprak has been faring poorly, to say the least. They have been looking for ways to enhance their influence and to improve their lot, including asking for help from the other noble houses. They have not approached us, of course. It is shameful to seek help from those you consider your inferiors, you understand. Perhaps the Drivestrims or Sauerbachs can tell you more about this matter. Okay, and then move on to the drive stems. You, Governor. When you approach them, the conversations die down. How may I serve you, your lordship? Are you ready to pronounce your verdict yet? Did you see Halen Gaprak today before I arrived? Halen? I did not see him myself, but perhaps... The governor turns around and asks his family, have any of you seen him today? The nobles talk quietly among themselves, and then a middle-aged woman with a tall, extravagant hairstyle replies to you, I think my sister and I saw him sitting on the bench some distance away from the palace's entrance. We think he was accompanied by a gentleman, but forgive us, your lordship, we could not make out his face. Lead me to that place. Of course, consider it done.
I won't tolerate weakness.
Is it you that I'm following? I assume so.
Halt! I noticed
I
something.
saw Lord Gaprak conversing with someone here, your lordship. It was an honor to assist you. Thank you.
I did it?
I recognize this bouquet. House Sauerbach usually serves this wine. Okay. So, someone from Sauerbach was talking to him, is the theory. I found a dead body in my palace. A member of House Gaprak was slain in front of an altar. Do you know anything about it? A member of House Gaprak was killed in the palace? The governor's eyes bulged in surprise. And no one noticed? But how? There are wardens posted at every altar. There was no one near the deceased. The wardens had left their post. Did you order them to do so? Emperor forbid, your lordship. The governor helplessly throws his hands up in the air, as if to signify his powerlessness. Your negligence is stunning, Urbant. An assassination attempt, followed by a mysterious death, and yet here you are, oblivious to everything. The rogue trader can justly accuse you of allowing a noble to be killed in the palace, failing to even notice it. It may be so, but it is for the rogue trader to accuse me of negligence, not you. The governor addresses you once more. Your lordship, accept my deepest apologies for my imprudence. Nothing matters more to me than my honor. I shall send the servants to deal with this all immediately. I shall return to you later. Let's talk to the Sauerbachs about the wine or whatever that we found over there. My guess is Sauerbach is guilty and trying to pin it on the Gapraks and the Werserians. Okay, they had nothing further to say. I assume nothing further from you, Toriana. Nope. So I think we are... Let's go back here, because we did get one more clue, and so we should check with you guys, just in case you have something to say, and you don't. So I think we do what Abelard said, and we say we're ready to accuse someone of death.
For me?
And then see how it goes. Summon everyone. I'm ready to pronounce my verdict. The Governor Drivestem tensely bows and replies without hesitation. Understood, your lordship. Allow me to prepare everything. Many faces are watching you, each and every one awaiting the rogue trader's verdict with bated breath. The charges brought by Governor Drivestem were fabricated. House Werserian had nothing to do with the orchestration of the riots or the plot targeting the rogue trader. However, the real perpetrators are here in this very room. Seneschal nods to you as if urging you to continue, then shifts his piercing gaze to the crowds before you. Urban Drivestem, you have exhibited inexcusable negligence by failing to question the possible involvement of any other family besides the Werserians. We have discovered that the attempt on my life was orchestrated by a member of House Gaprak. Urban Drivestem, you have accused House Werserian of violations that were in truth the result of a grave error committed by your son. Toriana Gaprak, a member of your family, orchestrated the assassination attempt against me here in my own palace, and though he has already been found dead, his act is reason enough to forever brand your house as traitors. Macarius Sourback, your overt contempt towards me is reason enough to implicate you in the conspiracy. I know that House Sourback offered their help to the Gapraks, and the late Helen Gaprak seemed to have accepted the offer. I suspect that you were responsible for his death as well. Yeah, so let's go down the list. Urban Drivestem, you have exhibited inexcusable negligence by failing to question the possible involvement of any other family besides the Werserians. We've discovered that the attempt on my life was orchestrated by a member of House Gaprak. Awareness test succeeded. The governor closes his eyes, fear and shame getting the better of him. Some faces in the crowd look confused and surprised, but you see more weary expressions of self-satisfied contempt. Abelard looks from the governor to you and suddenly shakes his head, as if to say, no, it is not Drivestem pulling the strings here. Urban Drivestem, you have accused House Werserian of violations that were in truth the result of a grave error committed by your son. The governor closes his eyes, fear and shame getting the better of him. Some faces in the crowd look confused and surprised, but you see more wearing expressions of self-satisfied contempt. Abelard looks from the governor to you and suddenly shakes his head as if to say, no, it is not Drivestem pulling the strings here. Toriana Gaprak, a member of your family, orchestrated an assassination attempt against me here in my own palace. Though he has already been found dead, his act is reason enough to forever brand your house as traitors. Mocking whispers creep through the crowd. Toriana is trembling faintly. She still does not raise her head, perhaps out of fear of meeting her fate face to face. The Seneschal's hard gaze softens. An elusive gesture, visible only to you, conveys the message Toriana Gaprak is guilty only of her own poor judgment. I know that House Sourback offered their help to the Gapraks, and late Halen Gaprak seemed to have accepted the offer. I suspect that you are responsible for his death as well. Sourback furrows his brow and slightly cocks his head. He averts his gaze for the first time, as if trying to remember or make sense of something. You notice some restless movements behind him. Abelard narrows his eyes and scrutinizes Macarius Sourback and his retinue standing behind him. His sharp eyes light up when he catches sight of something important and hidden in the crowd. The Seneschal looks at you and nods, as if to say, the puppeteer has given themselves away. Pronounce the verdict. But probably not Macarius, but someone else? I mean, I could just still state that. But I'll trust Abelard. Pronounce the verdict. In this conspiracy against the rogue trader, I find... The air in the room is frozen with a tense, almost electrified silence. All the nobles, some with fear and others with reverent anticipation, await your verdict. House Sourback guilty. Seneschal, you may take it from here. House Sourback guilty. The head of your family has never tried to hide his attitude towards me. That is more than enough to convict him. House Gaprak guilty. One of your members orchestrated an attack on the rogue trader. Treason by anyone's reckoning. House Sourback guilty. Seneschal, you may take it from here. I will trust Abelard to point out the guilty member. Abelard steps forward and stares intently at House Sourback's patriarch. Macarius, I must admit, I have always admired your bluntness, but just as I once had to say goodbye to a promotion because of my dislike for intrigue, you and your family might soon say goodbye to your heads. Tell me now, in your blunt fashion, are you loyal to House von Valencius? Sourback narrows his eyes, grimacing. I am loyal, Werserian. Abelard studies Sourback, then suddenly nods. You're not lying, but someone else is. Someone who is poised to destroy both you and your family for her own gain. Macarius does not have time to respond. Regina, who is standing beside him, raises her arm as if to slap the elderly seneschal. Abelard deftly catches her wrist, stopping her hand right in front of his face. Her dainty hand is adorned with a massive augmatic ring, topped with a thin spike of dripping with venom. Macarius Sauerback. Sauerback shifts his confused gaze from his wife to Abelard, then back again. The stiff arrogance has vanished from his posture. Regina, you? Mother. Upon realizing what has happened, Hetka recoils from his mother. Macarius, your bluntness makes you an open book. When I talked about helping the Gapraks, you had no idea what I was referring to. Your wife, on the other hand, her eyes started shifting, like you would not believe. Regina Sauerback, you alone betrayed the rogue trader, jeopardizing the prosperity of the Von Valencia's trade dynasty, and you alone are responsible for your unmasking. Regina, why would you do this? Who aided you? There's no way you managed all this on your own. Why did you kill Helen Gaprak? Regina, why would you do this? Like the spike on her ring, Regina's words are dripping with poison and rage. Because Dargonus is serving an imposter, the true heir of the Protectorate bears a different name. When Kunrad appeared on Dargonus, he paid me a visit and opened my eyes to the truth of the situation. Theodore was killed by the one whom she had so unwarily taken under her wing. Macarius is too narrow-minded to even consider opposing the rogue trader, even an illegitimate one, so I had to wait for the right moment, and the disappearance of the Lord Captain could not have come at a better time. It was quite simple to trigger a chain of events on Dargonus so that the people remembered Master Voltvir's past service. It seemed that many of your subjects do not actually consider you a worthy successor. Why the Werserians? Because when stripped of the Seneschal's protection, this house is the weakest one of all on Dargonus, and they are also particularly disliked by the governor's family. It would have been easy to bury the Werserians under the accusations of heresy. Who aided you? There's no way you managed all this on your own. Oh, of course I didn't. I have too many helpers to list them all, but rest assured that there are plenty of them, just as there are plenty of people who follow Master Voltvir. My death will not change anything. The true rogue trader will come and take his rightful place when the time is right. Why did you kill Helen Gaprak? Halen was a good agent, but he was also a coward. He came to me just before our formidable rogue trader arrived. He was ready to confess everything. I suggested they plead for the Emperor's forgiveness first, and he did grant him mercy, did he not? Abelard, the sentence has yet to be carried out. Finish this. Abelard turns his gaze to you. Does the rogue trader condemn only the rotten apple, or the entire barrel? The entire family? No. I would not exterminate an entire noble line that is loyal to me just because of one traitor. In that case, Regina Sauerback shall be subjected to intense interrogation followed by execution. We received the Traitor's Ring, a marvelous compact weapon in the form of a ring that allows the wearer to fire a liquefier shot once per combat. Okay, and we proved Abelard's family is not guilty. Huzzah. By order of the rogue trader, Regina Sauerback is sentenced to death for heresy and crimes against the Von Valencia's trade dynasty. Oh, that's looking quite brutal. Yikes. When the nobles disperse, sated by the bloody performance, Abelard approaches you, his steps firm. Lord Captain, you have my thanks. A rogue trader should not waste time on the matters that his servants and trustees can resolve, but in this case, your intervention was necessary, not just for the sake of my family, but for your trade dynasty as well. Virginia Sauerback, evidently Kunrad's accomplices continue to plot against your protectorate. I fear we have not heard the last of such scoundrels. Thanks to you, Lord Captain, House Werserian is saved, although it came close to being wiped out as a result of scheming without and imprudence within. Abelard pauses for a moment, staring off into the distance. Sometimes I think about how much I could teach them. I could ensure that they survive in the future without me. What are you going to do now? You and your family must be prepared for the next time something like this happens. What are you going to do now? I need time to reflect upon what happened and the role I played in it. I think I will be ready to resume this conversation later when we are back on board the ship. Abelard bows to you deferentially and turns away, lost in thought. So then we'll need to talk to Abelard on the ship's bridge, but I think this is a fine place to stop this stream. So next time we'll pick up from here, possibly talk to Clementia, just to see if she has anything to say. And then we still need to talk to the Arbites, who should be waiting around here to talk to me somewhere. But yeah, I will see you guys then. Thanks for watching. Bye.